Hello friends, I'm Victoria with Aligned Soul Tarot, and welcome to this lunar eclipse in Virgo, full moon in Virgo, the upcoming March 13th, 14th date we've all been talking about. You can find my recent March all signs reading where we go into all 12 signs and we talk more about astrology, retrograde energy, all that good stuff. You can find all my helpful links below. I have a ton of supportive content for the times. And hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for my new moon in Aries solar eclipse reading for March 29th's journey as we start off the eclipse season of 2025. So as Toni Morrison, one of my favorite leaders, would say, some say that we didn't ask to be born, but I think we did, and that's why we're here. We came with a contract, silent, unseen, but deeply felt. A promise to serve, to love, to risk. And as Toni Morrison reminds us, it is more interesting, more complex, more intellectually demanding, and more morally demanding to love somebody or something, to take care of somebody. Now, the dangers of that are setting oneself up as the martyr, Pisces energy, the one whom without won't be done. But this is a problem of the human mind, Virgo. We have to try, we must. And not doing it is so poor for the self and the soul, poor for the mind. There's no risk involved if you want to hang on to your sanity. Don't love anybody. It will hurt, of course. That's true for all sorts of people. The abandonment, the risk, the heartbreak. Love is a present you're giving away, but you're actually giving it to yourself. We must not forget that. And isn't that the great paradox of this eclipse? The Virgo South Node whispers of duty, of precision, of making ourselves indispensable. The quiet martyr, the one who holds it all together because without me, it won't get done. But Pisces North Node calls us into something deeper. What if true service isn't about control, but surrender? What if devotion means trusting and not fixing? This lunar eclipse in Virgo is a reckoning, a mirror held up to the parts of us that confuse perfection with purpose, obligation with love. It asks us, what have I clung to? Where have I clung to duty at the expense of divinity? Where have I mistaken sacrifice for soul work? And am I finally ready to release the burden of control to step forward, not as the one who must, but as the one who trusts? Because love, real love, is the greatest risk. And yet, Toni Morrison tells us it's a gift that we give away only to find it was meant for us all along. And this reckoning is only the beginning. On March 29th, the final eclipse in Aries ends this cycle. It slams the door on an old version of self. And just one day later, on March 30th, Neptune enters into Aries for the first time since 1861, pulling the dreamer from the watery embrace of Pisces and placing them at the edge of the great unknown. The Fool, Aries, takes a trust fall, no longer floating in the vastness of possibility, but standing at the precipice of something real. Neptune in Aries is not just a dream, it's the initiation of the dreamer, the cosmic leap, right? The fool's journey, from vision to action, from surrender to daring. Pisces North Node asks us to believe, and Aries demands that we become. And Saturn will soon follow into Aries, cementing these lessons later in the year. The Fool steps forward and the wheel of fate turns once more. Are you ready to take that leap into 2025? The Hermit, the 9-year, it's calling us. These stories. Let's get into it. Hi friends, welcome to this collective reading. So, as we spoke upon, this whole martyr syndrome, I've been talking about it for quite some time. And I do have that Saturn and Pisces reading. If you are new to my channel, welcome. Thank you for joining me here. Thank you for taking that trust fall into the unknown. I'm getting kind of frozen into the unknown. Aries actually got that in the extended for the March all signs reading, which you can email me for that, by the way. My Etsy shop is currently down, so for all of you that want services from me and you want that March all signs extended, just email me. That should be up soon. Hello retrogrades. It begins, right? Delay, but it all is for a purpose. So I'm trusting in that. But again, all my links are below. But yeah, into the unknown, right? I actually got some channeled guidance, and I want to also read the Sabian symbol for this full moon in Virgo lunar eclipse, okay, at 24 degrees Virgo. I got What's Love Got to Do With It by Tina Turner. What's love but a secondhand emotion? So, what's she say? Who needs a heart when a heart can be broken? It's very much this energy of Pisces, Virgo. They both talk about being of service, but in different ways, right? Like I spoke upon, Toni Morrison says it best. If you don't know who she is, I'll link that exact quote below, that video, if you want to watch it from her mouth. She is so profound. I found her a couple years ago, and everything that this woman has said is beautiful. She was an Aquarius, Pluto in Aquarius. You know, we are in this great revolutionary act, and it will not be televised. It will be live action, right? We'll be seeing it. You know, Pisces, got to pull the wool from our eyes. We must surrender to what we're seeing, witness, feel it, right? Pisces season. My God, I could go on and on about this stuff, but yes, Toni Morrison said it best. And I've kind of had this interesting kind of complex with this whole idea of being a martyr, and how it very much can come across as the ego, which again, I'm a psych major, so the ego is not a bad thing. You know, in the spiritual community, we talk about ego death of the ego. We cannot truly live without our ego. It is a survival tool. It kind of reminds me of great old Saturn in our chart. It sits us down and tells us about time, and, you know, sits between the threshold of this life and the last, Pisces, past life. But it's very concrete. It's very evident. Virgo energy. Virgo is the precursor to Saturn, 10th house. You know, I can go all into this, but if you're new to astrology, just know that I do offer birth chart analysis, where you can really sit down with all those placements in your chart, your natal north and south node, okay? Your Chiron, your 10th house, Venus and Mercury are definitely playing into this month as well. They're both retrograde. Mercury will be retrograde as of March 14th, okay? So, you know, this whole thought of becoming the martyr. Yes, Saturn in Pisces has been teaching us this. Neptune in Pisces, North Node in Pisces, Pisces season. How much more Pisces can you get, right? Like, we have to understand that being of service is such a huge part of this human experience. And being of service can look so unique to each and every one of us. I'm also getting reminded of like attachment styles, right? Anxious, avoidant, secure. When we are secure, right? And I believe truly that we can fluctuate depending on our environment, right? And also our upbringing. This is huge and crucial when we look at these attachment styles. If we are more secure, which hopefully we are all evolving on the spiritual journey to become more secure in ourselves, we can trust to love. We can be of service. It's reminding me much of, you know, we cannot even give and be of service if we're also not being of service to ourselves, right? If our cup is not full, how must we give to another, right? So there is a balance there. But if we never take that risk, if we never open ourselves up, if we are too much of that perfectionist Virgo South Node, that inner critic that holds us back from truly opening up and taking that trust fall, right? Aries energy. Okay, we're going to be moving into Neptune and Saturn going into Aries. So let's prepare ourselves for this new fool's journey, this new turn around the wheel. Pisces 12th, Aries 1st. It is the clock like resetting. Okay, it's major. And I'll be going more into this now that I changed up my reading style. I'm going to be doing more personalized readings on stuff that I geek out on. And if you geek out on it with me, cool. But 2027 is really where we're going to see and feel a lot of what we're talking about right now. And again, we're kind of in these timeline shifts right now. There's a lot of polarity that we're seeing in the world. And my beliefs around it as of right now, because nothing's really concrete, everything's a bit mutable, Pisces, Virgo energy right now, is that although we see this polarity, I myself am learning to recognize and understand both, not to pick sides, not to maybe sit on the fence, but there is this empathy, understanding of discerning where the polarity lies and where are you, right? Are you to one extreme or the other, right? I've talked about this for years with my friends, my relationships. One of my life's goals is to find this center point, because I've witnessed and observed in my own spiritual practices, and what's led me into doing readings is that we are humans of extreme. It tends to be the theme in history. Most of violence, war, politics, any sort of extreme behavior, it's really hyper masculine or really hyper feminine, right? So this masculine feminine dynamic, we were talking about it during the full moon in Cancer reading, Mars in Cancer when it was retrograde. You know, things are picking up now, and the goal, I think, is to really understand this polarity, but we don't have to stay too fixed or rigid in either side. That's what Pisces, I think, is really pushing me at least to see. And again, maybe it will change 2027 in human design, which I do also offer human design analysis, and I have some great connections as well to outsource to you if this is what you're desiring to learn more about. Is we're breaking out of a 400-year Yuga cycle into the rise of the sleeping phoenix in 2027. So lots of changes to occur from here till then, but let's stay present right now. I did get some other messages, some channeled guidance. I got like a joke, like a reference to a joke, like the Fool and the High Priestess and the Hermit sit down at the bar. You know, what happens next? These are all major arcanas for those of you that might be new to tarot. What would the Fool say? The Fool says, what's next? The Hermit says, with an awkward pause, I'm not certain. And the High Priestess says, just follow me. Right? It's a gesture. It's a feeling. It's an intuition. High Priestess, Pisces, Hermit, Virgo, the Fool, Aries. And I was also journaling here and channeling. Imagine your introverted friend, Hermit, your witchy woo-woo friend, High Priestess, High Priest, and the adrenaline junkie going on a journey, the Fool's journey, the hero's journey, the major arcana. Each bring a lesson of equity, right? Each bring something to give to this journey. And we can pull back on any one of these archetypes at any given time. You know, I have done lectures and workshops on the Fool's journey, and I'll also link my video below for some of you that want to watch that. It's just a little brief kind of introduction into the major arcana. And I think that all of these innately live within us, each one of the archetypes, the major arcana, and we pull on them in certain scenarios. And right now the energy is very much these three archetypes. I do have a archetype service. It's like a $20 reading where we can pull on what archetype is specifically coming up for you to help facilitate this collective energy, right? Of the Fool, the High Priestess, and the Hermit. Okay? So yeah, interesting. You know, they walk into a room, what happens? Which one are you leaning on? Intuitively, which one are you feeling more into currently? And it might sway day to day or hour to hour. So I did pull randomly 2 cards. Let's see what we got. Abundance and change. Change and abundance. I like that. Let's feel into that. I want to read the Sabian symbol for this Virgo full moon at 24 degrees. Mary and her little lamb. The need to keep a vibrant and pure simplicity at the core of one's being as one meets the many tests of existence. Coming after the preceding symbols, this one tells us that though great, spectacular, and resolute efforts are needed in order to achieve one's higher goals of destiny, still the essential quality as one's journey on the path is a pure, spontaneous, fresh, and non-violent approach to all encounters. This, of course, is Jesus's entry to his disciples, that they should be like little children, without such a deep, heartfelt simplicity. The seeker after spiritual experiences or initiation is bound to find himself glamorized by his own successes, and to see his ego feeding on the drama of struggle and victory. Very much this Fool energy, and I didn't even read this yet, and it very much connects to the Fool energy. It's very childlike, much like the Sun card as well. This is the fourth stage of the 35th five-fold sequence, and it presents us with a subtle hint of technique. Beyond individual prowess and social eminence, the individual whose innocence is fixed upon a spiritual realization should genuinely radiate innocence. Return to innocence. Oh God, remember those infomercials for my 90 babies? Oh my God, that song played like every night at like 9 p.m. to midnight, that infomercial with like all the greatest 90s tunes, like what, Enigma or something? So there is something about innocence here. And again, that's what I was talking about with attachment styles. You know, we all are born into this world with that childlike wonder. And much of us, if not all of us, at some point have felt like that's been stripped away from us. You know, we all go through different initiations, much like the Fool. And as we prepare again for Aries season, and again, this March 29th eclipse is the last eclipse in Aries. So we are fine-tuning it. Virgo is helping us refine this energy a bit, especially with Mercury retrograde, its ruling planet, and Venus retrograde. So this is not balls to the wall. This is not like, let's just party like it's 1999. No, it's not that. But there is an innocence that needs to be present, a vulnerability to love, to nurture, not only someone else, but ourselves, right? The Hermit, I think, is teaching us that with this Virgo eclipse, is to remember, what are we giving to ourselves? As we are giving to others, are we also giving back to ourselves? Are we nurturing those stories within us? Where is there tension when we are giving? Are we open to even receiving as well? That's a big one, right? Because abundance is here. So I've been talking to Gemini about this, Jupiter and Gemini, you know, and I've also spoke upon how Jupiter and Saturn go hand in hand. We cannot get the gifts of abundance, Jupiter, wisdom, right? Blessings, this big energy, this growth mindset of Jupiter. And Jupiter went direct last month as well. If we don't learn those lessons of Saturn, right? We have many lessons with Saturn, our Saturn return. If you live to see your second, you know, maybe your third for some of you. The age of AI is upon us, so maybe we'll all be living into our late hundreds, who knows? But it would be very interesting, you know, to feel into that, into your chart, right? Because Saturn does remind me a lot of Virgo. Again, 6th house is the precursor to Saturn 10th house. So there is this Saturnian vibe, especially since last month we had Venus and Pisces conjunct Saturn, lessons in love. So that energy is still lingering now that we have the Sun in Pisces, and also we have Neptune still in Pisces till the end of the month, and Saturn, right? So there's still this conjunction with Saturn. So abundance. How can you magnetize on this abundance? You know, we can't really attract these things if we're in a lack story, if we're restricted or confined, or it's too risky, it's too much. You know, there's a change to the circumstance for the collective. This is a collective reading, right? So take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Let's see how these energies tie into the reading. Let's pull from the Death Doula Oracle for this Virgo full moon eclipse. The work, there's the 6th house for you. Whistle while you work. Yeah, it's kind of a good analogy there, symbolic. Think about all those dwarves, Snow White and the 7 dwarves. You know, they were happy as can be working away, right? So there's that innocence, but they're still working their ass off, right? You know, so, you know, I'm getting reminded of flow. when you're in flow at what you do, 10th house, your soul's mission, oh, how good it feels, right? And that's what we all should be striving for. And the modern day society definitely does restrict us a lot. You know, there's a lot of restrictions and fear mongering. Let's just say that. We have to be careful of the words that we use, because when I say there's a lot of restrictions, it's like almost enforcing that we don't have this innocence, that we don't have this freedom and autonomy. And although we have seen much of that getting stripped away to some extent, what can we still hold on to? What sense of innocence and childlike wonder can we still hold on to, even given anything that's happening outside of ourselves? It's a feeling, right? If anything, right? All of you are at different points in your life, right? Different circumstances as well, okay? But the hope is that we can be in this flow with whatever we're doing. And it doesn't mean we have to monetize off of it, right? But it does take ritual, duty, responsibility of Virgo, you know, paying attention to the details, Mercury retrograde, right? In order to achieve a greater sense of purpose even. You know, paying attention to the times when we really aren't satisfied in life. Are we just working away diligently at something that we're not even passionate about? There's the change that's required here. Let's see. You know, I'm getting reminded of someone, and this can also be a shadow, I would say, of Pisces and Virgo. More Pisces is the victim, you know, because it's just too much, right? Pisces feels it all. It's the 12th house. Any of the signs can go from the light to the dark, right? Again, polarity, right? And the shadow, the dark side of Pisces is that. It's feeling helpless, feeling like a victim to our circumstances. And the more we self-perpetuate that, Virgo, the more we tell ourselves these things, words are living spells, the more we will see that in our waking life, right? It's a feeling, remember that. Let's see, what else do we have? The void, as I said, Pisces, yeah. It's a feeling. You know, thinking of space, Pisces, it reminds me of like the galaxy beyond, right? Into the unknown. There's so many things that we still don't know about space. And even the dark, deep ocean, right? And so there is this sense of curiosity there, right? With things that are unknown, we have to understand that although we might feel restricted and confined amongst that unknown, there's a lot of freedom also in the unknown, right? There can be a toss-up of both, depending on who you are and how you handle the void. You know, and that also traces back to your attachment style. If you're secure, right, which again, I'm not saying that I am. I don't think that any of us are fully always secure, maybe some, but I think honestly we sway. We maybe lean more towards one or the other at times, but we are meant to evolve. I'm an evolutionary astrologer, tarot reader. I don't stay fixed to, well, I was always avoidant, so I'm going to be avoidant forever. No, you can rewire, reframe to be more secure, to be able to withhold the depths of the void, right? That takes a level of security to hold that much space. Let's see here. It's a practice, right? It's not going to happen overnight. If we work on it, we can get there slowly but surely. It does require change here. And there is so much reward when we do the work. Let's see. Virgo, full moon, lunar eclipse. What do we have for the collective here? Oh, I love that. Yeah, where have we deceived ourselves? 7 of Swords, Hangman in reverse, the Devil in reverse. See, this is that fear, the devil. You're not good enough, right? You can never achieve that. Why would you think that way? That's childish. Why would you ever pursue something like that? You're no good, right? A lot of self-worth. You know, Virgo can definitely beat themselves up. That's the shadow of Virgo. And we're going to be feeling that. South node, past. What we're comfortable with is not always what we're going to grow out of, right? You know, most of our growth, if not all of it, is not that comfortable. Okay, so we can take from the South node, right? because there's lots of qualities there, but we can't stay stagnant. And the devil in reverse, the devil upright says, hey, I want you to stay stagnant because that's exactly where I have you under my thumb. Okay, and we see this energy very much so in this earthly experience. This archetype, major arcana, again, we all have a devil, we all have a temperance angel, we all have a hermit, right? We might not extract that information if we're not aware of it. But when we're consciously aware of these archetypes, we can start to understand why, when, and how we're operating from them, or when they're around us, okay? Right, and what creates this devil? Usually it's trauma. And I'll think of the devil itself, you know, the story of the fallen angel. You know, so not to say that we should give praise, but we should understand. There should be an understanding. To each their own. What you think of this devil, what does it remind you of? What are you holding on to that you need to let go of, especially with the Hangman and the Seven of Swords here? Seven of Swords, it can be external, but in this scenario with these two major arcana next to it, it's very internal, because the Hangman and the devil, again, it is a feeling, right? The devil is very present, but it's almost like I'm imagining someone that's possessed. You know, think of possession. You know, and we can become possessed by the devil. Temptation, it's luring, it's lustful. And there are qualities to the devil when it's paired with different cards. But in this situation, it is talking about more of these qualities of the devil. Because the devil can represent, again, Capricorn, Saturn, right? It's contracts, a law, legalities, some might say karmic contracts that we have with the devil that we have to kind of work our way through. That can be very hard to do, especially like ancestral trauma I'm getting with Pisces Hangman. You know, we can be born with ancestral karma that we might not even be consciously aware of. Why we're limited. Why do we have this mindset? Right? Virgo South Node is teaching us to reframe, and I will have a helpful video below. I've been talking about this in September for those that have been with me, but I will link that below for people that don't understand what reframing is. It's a helpful therapeutic tool, very simple and actually pretty easy, and it works for me, especially when my Gemini spirals. You know, I'm also ruled by Mercury. So, yeah, the Hangman in reverse is saying, you know, we can become enlightened, right? We can loosen the grip around this devil, untangle ourselves from this position that we might feel stuck in or bound or fixated to at any given time. It does require work. It might be a bit uncomfortable. You know, it's uncomfortable to imagine being hung upside down. But if we're there long enough, especially the devil energy, if it's something that we're accustomed to, we become trauma bonded to it. Or if anything that's opposite from that energy feels scary, it's the void. Right? If any of you that don't know about trauma bonding, look into that as well. You know, if you only are so familiar with one thing, anything outside of that can feel very nerve-wracking. So I feel like that's the energy right now for the collective, is it does feel nerve-wracking. We are in a pressure cooker. Pisces is like swimming in a freaking fishbowl. And if you don't have water in your chart, right, then it can be even more challenging, right? Your birth chart holds a lot of information that will help you understand how you're processing the times, right? All of you are processing things a bit differently, and that's beautiful. That's your hermit's journey, your story. But there is some reframing that's required. Again, even with your past, whatever sort of karma you've been born into, there is a chance to break free from that. Okay? Hangman in reverse, Seven of Swords. Where are you selling yourself short here? Let's see what this Seven of Swords is about. I want to see. Let's pull. What is the collective allowing themselves with the Seven of Swords to hold on to or to walk away from? You know, because the Seven of Swords is kind of like holding on to a bunch of swords and thinking they're getting away, but they're actually falling into a trap. The devil. It's a lot around fear here. fear stories. Be careful of what you're taking in. Mercury retrograde. Yeah. Yeah, careless, unfocused. Virgo energy, 8 of Pentacles. Hoarding, yeah, lack of meaning behind your actions. Exactly. Restlessness, yeah, Mercury retrograde, we can feel a bit restless. So if, right, because this is a collective reading, and whenever you find this, it's meant to find you. You're all at your own unique speed and journey, right? If you feel like you're still here in the Hangman, totally fine. Most of us are, to be honest. Like I said, I feel like 2025 is kind of the observer, the hermit, where we are witnessing the polarity, the shifts, where like there's timelines kind of peeling and there's very opposing energies, right? And then I would say we as in people that maybe connect with me here are observing, where do I fit into this? Do I not fit in? Do I completely detach myself? You know, I definitely have found myself more on the outside looking in. Oh, that's a good song. I'm going to link that below. It's by Mariah Carey. It's one of her old songs. Oh, it's a great one. I was such a Mariah Carey fan as a little girl. Outside looking in. This was, yeah, her fantasy album. Mariah Carey. I'll link it below. It's in the lyrics. Looking in. Wow, it's a powerful song. The lyrics, okay? It's beautiful. Yeah, let's see. Let's go further here. What is this devil energy? What does my collective need to be mindful of with this devil? You know, the devil is in reverse, so that tells me that most of you have been working through this and have a very good understanding of your own devil. Yeah, so you've taken the blindfold off. So if you haven't, right, I'm feeling like most of you have, to be honest. You've understood where you maybe made bad choices, or maybe where you were being dishonest. This is Virgo energy, by the way. We'll have that Virgo South Node kind of trickling on March 29th with that Aries eclipse. Virgo South, Libra South Node from last year and a half. And this is kind of emphasizing that codependency here for sure in relationships. 9 of Pentacles, Virgo. Where have we been codependent in our lives? Right? The devil wants us to be codependent. So this is talking about codependency. Because there's a fear of taking up space, Jupiter direct. There's a fear of the unknown. What are they going to think of me? Right? So much judgment. And a lot of it is due to society, culture. You know? There's knowledge here. But again, knowledge, me speaking to you is one part of it. You know, wisdom, the wisdom of the hermit year, 2025. It's about taking this knowledge and applying it. That's what wisdom is. And that takes work, that takes time. This is not something that happens overnight. Again, I feel personally it's going to be like till 2027, maybe even beyond for some. But 2027 for most of you, you will notice very, very clearly. You will see. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. Let's see, what's this energy advising my collective about? Look at the big picture. Yes, Sag energy. Bring love into the situation. So yeah, wherever you have been codependent on whatever, food, sex, money, drugs, rock and roll, doesn't really matter. A person, place, thing. Bring love into it. You know, Pluto in Aquarius, that's that new moon in Aquarius, last Aquarius season. Aries, be bold, make the first move, yeah. Full moon eclipse. Conclusions are within reach. So don't beat yourself up. That's a big one with Virgo. They can be their own worst enemy, right? You know, and Virgos make such great teachers, educators. They're ruled by Mercury. They are perfectionists in their craft. They're the 8 of Pentacles, right? They're focused, they're diligent. But if we are too much of one thing, remember the extremes we talked about, we can get really stuck. So again, the goal, I feel, for a lot of the spiritual journey, the fool's journey, the hero's journey, is about understanding the whole picture. The whole picture. From the fool to the world, right? The world is about completion. It's where we take all that information and then we apply it, wisdom, into the next cycle, into the unknown. And we bring love with us, right? As we're more secure in ourselves, as we've experienced this journey, we start to understand that we actually had more power than we thought we didn't, right? Be bold and make the first move. So this is a self-initiation, right? 9-year self Virgo, Hermits. You know, the 9 is all about that traction. The 10 is where it completes, but really the change is in the 9. And conclusions are within reach. So it looks like as we zone out, we got a lot of full moon energy here. 2 full moons and the new moon in the middle. So it's kind of split. We're going to be noticing more shifts after this full moon eclipse, March 13th and 14th. And then I think what's happening here is we will be zoning out, looking at the big picture. Maybe by December, a lot of you will understand things, like we were saying earlier, until 2027 really is kind of this observation. But we will feel Neptune going into Aries. Again, these slower moving planets, just like when we had Pluto change from Pluto in Capricorn to Pluto in Aquarius, what did you observe then? Back in November? Yeah. Don't quote me. Yeah, November. I think it was November 16th. What kind of changes happened for you then? It's going to be unique for all of you, right? This is on a micro Hermit to macro Pisces collective level. And there are things that you can do to make that first move. But the conclusions are within reach. It's suggesting that, again, this is the observation, the retrograde energy. Let's see here. What kind of advice and support can I give my collective at this time? What are they needing to know? What are they needing to see? Angels, ancestors, and guides. Death, relationships. Oh, well, that's that Libra South node. The codependency, relationships. I'm attracted to those people who serve my higher good. So yeah, we are calling in our people, our community, because guess what? We're realizing more and more that we can't really rely on most social structures. Pluto in Capricorn was a big lesson there. Pluto in Aquarius is showing us things need to crumble, right? Uranus energy, Pluto, Tower. It's very erratic. I've been saying this from before 2025, the Great Wave. Pluto and Aquarius, amongst many other things. There's many waves. And this one is one of them. Again, we are taking in, we're absorbing the shock effect of the wave. It's like when you get hit by a wave, right? You get back up and then there's another one coming, right? So to be honest, it's going to feel like that, right? But the more that we can get used to that to some extent, I'm getting reminded of also like survival mode. How are you also recovering from that hit, right? That is that kind of observation and sitting back. We can't burn ourselves out on all ends. Give, go, go, go. To some of you, do what you feel, right? But I'm suggesting that there's a better way. There is a death to old ways of doing things as well. I am learning that endings are merely beginnings. And this could be happening amongst friends. We are seeing this polarity. Friends, family, coworkers. You know, I've actually found myself with some of my own family and friends where at the end of the day, when we actually got down to it, when we actually allowed ourselves to speak, we realized that we actually were fighting for the same thing the whole time. That can be for some, not all, right? Some people are really extreme in their beliefs. But luckily, I found myself to, at least who I have allowed in my life, to find some sort of common ground. And for those that I can't, I don't really entertain them. Death. You don't try to justify Libra South Node, right? March 29th. This is kind of bleeding into that energy too. And we'll talk more about that then, right? March 24th, I'll be posting that reading, okay? You know, Libra South Node, just trying to fight the good fight. What's justified? What's fair? Fighting for peace, fighting for harmony, yes. We all need to stand up for the underdog. We need to be fighting the good fight, not just to fight, right? It can feel like you're a walking contradiction at times. How much do I give? How much do I take? I actually am getting reminded of this awesome woman. She's autistic and she speaks of people on the spectrum. And she talked about how all of us have a role. Some of us are here to heal, right, and support. Some of us are here to be advocates and boycott, protest. Some of us are here to be mothers, be caretakers to elderly or children. Some of us are here to support with money. Some of us are here to speak. Some of us are here to listen, right? Feel. All of it is important, right? Even if you need to sleep for a week, that's important. If that's important for you and what you're needing, you are listening to your intuition, right? That's what the High Priestess said from the beginning. Just follow me. Follow your gut. I'll be your guide, right? Also, death to relationships is again, that codependency, like leaning too much on others. You know, the 9 years teaching us that, like, whew, I got to start to trust myself more, that I'm okay. I'm okay. And this is not to say to be hyper independent either. Again, that's the extreme end. I can feel like a walking contradiction. I have to explain myself, but I hope that you guys understand what I'm saying. The extremes of all of this can be a lot to understand. It's like, well, what am I doing too much of this and too less of that? It's like, it's not meant to become hypercritical, Virgo. It's just to understand, feel. It's really a feeling. You know, imagine if, for instance, I'll give you an example to kind of bring this back in to a feeling-based scenario. When you're with someone, this leans on secure, where you just feel at ease. You can unwind. You can let go. You can speak. Sometimes when you're with those types of people, I'm getting reminded of a Rumi quote. When we have to yell and we have to scream, it's because our hearts are so far away from one another. But when our hearts are so close, it's like we don't have to speak. There's no words, it's a feeling. We can read each other's minds when our hearts are so close. So let's try to bring that back. Let's try to bring our hearts closer together, right? Back to love. It's really all it is. All right, let's see what Kuan Yin wants to wrap this reading up with. Goddess energy, Kuan Yin. Mother energy, Mother Gaia. What do we have for the collective at this time, for this Virgo full moon? Pray to the east, guardian watches over the west. East is, sorry, I'm trying to remember here. East is air. And west is fire. Don't, well, actually correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah. East, air, west, fire, south, water, north, earth. Okay. I got this. Let's read from the Kuan Yin Oracle to wrap up this reading. And again, if you need any extra support, you know where to find me. Again, my Etsy shop is down. I just got an email from them today, so hopefully they'll pull it together. I had some sort of issue with my post, and they flagged my Etsy. Like, it's astrology and tarot stuff here, okay? But, yeah, we're getting it wrapped up. It will be back up and live, but if you need me, you can always email me. My email will be below, okay? 36. I do have a special I'm running through April for Mercury and Venus. It's a $25 reading, and we go into your Mercury and Venus placements, and we feel into transits specifically for you, and you get a 2 full question tarot spread as well. Okay, if you're feeling like you can't find this balance in the extremes, and it's okay if you can't. We all can't at times. It's the human experience, right? Watch back to that Toni Morrison quote, and again, that will be linked below. I now see the ending and the beginning. Pisces, Aries. I watch and defend from past interference whilst I invite beautiful new worlds to form through my prayers, birthing them through my heart and the silent, unwavering light of my mind. Soon you shall be ready to make the crossing, to acknowledge the ending of this day and the dawn of the new day that I have begun to create for you. Do not be afraid of an ending now. All has been divinely ordained, And all things happen so that my love can prevail. Endings allow for fresh starts. Yeah, very much this death card here. Focus on letting go now and begin being firm in your decision. Have courage. Trust yourself. Yeah, last year was a strength year, so pulling on those reserves from that strength year. Your lion heart. You can love even more in the letting go than you did while holding on. Trust fall. Be patient and accept where you are now in the process of endings. All will happen soon enough. I'm helping you in all ways. Trust me in the new day I bring forth. So this is that Aries energy. New beginnings, the Fool. This just kind of solidifies this. There is hope for the future, but you may not feel it strongly yet, dear one. Deal with what is coming to a close, and the time for your new start will come soon. You will be freed from the past, the restraints of the devil, right? If you have been feeling urged to move on from a person, place, or situation, perhaps where the appearance is that all is continuing as per usual, but underneath feels as though it may be over. The oracle confirms your intuition, Pisces. Don't be afraid to allow things to end so that new beginnings can place accordingly to a higher plan. Stand up and turn to the west, or if you are unsure of your direction, you may just like to turn to your left side. Imagine you are looking at all that has been your past and any particular person or issue you know need to leave behind. So this is about releasing, cord cutting, right? Full moons, releasing, right? It's the culmination, much like we've been saying, Pisces to Aries. First, all the way around the wheel to 12th, and then back again. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. It's a new life for me, and I'm feeling good. Nina Simone. I'll have to put that one down there too. She came in right at the end. She's like, don't forget about me. I'm a Pisces. So I hope this helped you. I love you all. Enjoy this wild ride, right? As much as possible, and bring love into the situation. You are good enough. You are worthy of great things. And a change is a brewing. Do you believe it's for the better or for the worse? I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.